YAT. Hello, everyone, and Ramadan Kareem to each and every one of you, to all our audience who has joined us here tonight. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. This is your host, Toastmaster Maram Al-Aradi, and welcome to our second episode of the Young Adult Toastmasters Contest podcast series. The purpose of this podcast series is to take a closer look at each contest category and listen from our expert yachters about their experience and personal tips they will be sharing in each podcast. Tonight's topic is all about evaluation speech contests, where the contestants are supposed to evaluate a speech in a constructive and supportive manner to help the speaker move forward with the tips given during the evaluation. Tonight, we are honored to have an exuberant YAT member who will help us run this podcast tonight. She's an internal auditor by profession and enthusiast by evening, focusing on living at the moment or living the moment and having gratitude in every cell of her existence. Affiliated with Toastmasters for 3 years and has served as club secretary and currently serving as a vice president membership of the Young Adult Toastmasters Club. Participated in evaluation and table topic contests in club and area level and won second place at club level and third place in area level in the speech evaluation contest. Welcome, Toastmaster Najla Hameed.
Thank you so very much for that lovely introduction, Toastmaster Maram Al-Aradi. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to have you here tonight with us.
Thank you.
Tell me, Toastmaster Najla, and tell our audience here who are enthusiastic to hear all about you tonight and your experience about evaluation. So let us go back to the early beginnings. How did you learn about Toastmasters and why did you join this organization?
Okay, so good evening again, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, and all the lovely audience who's here right now, who's joined us online. Thank you so very much for being here online. And to your question, Toastmaster Maram Al-Aradi, I have been an enthusiast when it comes to communication groups, leadership groups, since I was a child. And I happened to be fortunate enough to be part of the youth leadership program while I was at school. So that's exactly when I was introduced to this Toastmasters world. That is when I knew, okay, there is this organization called Toastmasters, and these people, the so-called Toastmasters, I was amazed by the way how they spoke, the confidence level, the ease, the poise, everything about them was just amazing. And I was like, that is something I would want to be one day. And I guess that's where the seed was implanted about Toastmasters. And then fast forward, life happened, got busy, and one day again, I happened to notice this online post from Young Adult Toastmasters on Facebook. And they then, our lovely DTM Nada Kampar, she was the one who introduced me to the physical meeting of young adults that back day. And I came in for the meeting and I was like, oh my God, this is exactly where I belong. This place is the best that I could be at any point in time. And that is the day that I was technically introduced to Toastmasters, and 3 years now I'm sitting right in front of a live audience, going live on Insta, doing a podcast with my fellow lovely Toastmaster Maram Al-Aradi. So what more can I say?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Nita, for that elaborate answer. And we are so happy to actually have joined the Young Adult Toastmasters and have a really valuable member such as yourself. So what made you realize that you are truly improving and benefiting from your Toastmasters journey so far? Was there a particular incident that occurred to you and that told you, that said to you, like, oh my God, I'm truly evolving as a person, as a speaker, or as a leader?
So To be honest, I used to be a person who seldom speak to strangers. I mean, I'm very selective. I used to be very selective, correction. I used to be very selective to the people who I used to speak or interact with. I used to always have this self-consciousness. I was never confident enough to go in and talk to strangers. So now when I say strangers, they're actually my colleagues, neighbors, friends of friends, etc. Anybody except my bestie. So from there, now at this point in time, I'm at a spot, or anybody who knows me already would not disagree that I could go into anybody at any point in time and introduce myself and get them onto our Toastmaster meeting at least once as a guest. So that is how I have evolved from the intimidating, shy kind of a girl who used to seldom talk to strangers to the confident individual who has taken up the VPM membership purely because it's so much part of my daily life that anybody and everybody who I meet come in for a next Toastmaster meeting. And this is a definite line that I go around saying anybody and everybody that I meet. And that is exactly the reason why we have all my colleagues, most of them at least, my neighbors, my friends' friends, they've all been at least once the guest at YAT, Young Adults Toastmasters Club. And many of them has also converted to be lovely members. Alhamdulillah.
I can vouch for that. Yes, you have truly evolved your skills as a vice president membership, bringing us so many guests over the past year, I would say. And I'm so happy to see you evolving actually from the beginning where you joined us until now, and hopefully we can see you as a DTM soon. Not soon. I know that there's a long way, but definitely I know that is on your journey, inshallah. Coming to our topic of this episode, which is speech evaluations. This type of contest requires a lot of skills, including analytical skills. So have you always had such skills, or did you develop them? And how were you able to develop or improve such skills?
Okay, so when you talk about analytical skills, I honestly believe that, yes, I do have the analytical skills, and so do you, Maram. You, Toastmaster Maram, you have the analytical skills. And I also believe that every other person, every other audience that is joined in online today, they also have the analytical skills. But what happens when you join Toastmasters is that these inbuilt analytical skills evolve. They let you focus on actually what is the fundamentals that make a speech from an average or a mediocre speech to the best world-changing speech. So when you talk about analytical skills, I just purely believe it is to effectively listen. And once you listen, observe. And these two things done, khalas, your analytical skills are in place. And then you're ready to do any kind of evaluation at any point in time with all the confidence that you can have, because once you are listening, you're confident, you're absorbing, you're already in that phase where you can value add or give suggestions or recommendations or areas of improvement which actually benefits your speaker. So analytical skills, yes, everybody has it, but definitely being associated with Toastmasters has evolved my analytical skills to such an extent that I'm able to completely focus on what is actually the relevant bits rather than just being all around the place. I'm more organized, more structured, more specific.
That's great. Thank you so much. But in specific, let's just dial it down. So how were you exactly able to develop these skills through Toastmasters? So what did you usually do? Is it just you're teaching yourself, or you're observing others? So is there something specific so that our audience can?
So what I usually do is, like, obviously as I was part of the Toastmaster meetings, I started off with the speeches, but honestly, what I enjoyed more was the evaluation bit. So my interest from the beginning has always been evaluation. So I used to always enjoy how I was being evaluated. And every time I got an opportunity to evaluate, I used to be so excited about the fact that I get a chance to add some value to the opposite speaker. So at Toastmasters, we just believe in making every person a better version. It is purely just making them from the from good to best and the bestest at the end of the day. I mean, there is nothing that stops at any level. You just keep being better and better and better. So again, the if you drill it down to specifics, it's I just used to watch, I used to practice, and every time I give an evaluation out, I kind of feel the happiness or the content feeling which I see from the speaker, where I feel, okay, I have actually mentioned something that has actually added value to the person, or in fact, I have inspired them in one way or the other. So this has inspired me to focus more on the evaluations, because that connection that you build when you actually ask somebody or appreciate somebody and then ask them, okay, these are areas that you can get better at, they're just your people then. That's it. Like, the connection is made.
Wow, I absolutely agree with you. Yes, we are supposed to be so very supportive and help the speaker grow and not just to criticize negatively. So yes, observation is very important during evaluation, and then implementation and practice are also equally important. So of course, during contest, each contestant focuses on specific area, because unlike the meetings, we have certain objectives. Whereas in the contest, everything is, let's just say, broad or open. So what do you usually focus on in your evaluations during contests?
Okay, so if you ask me areas where I focus, it's basically, I would segregate it to two areas. One is content, and the other one is delivery. So when there is proper content and proper delivery, that is what makes the speech complete. Now, if we go further down in the proper content, we basically talk about the structure of the speech, which is the opening to start off with, followed by the introduction, the body, and finally the conclusion or the summary, which has the takeaway message. So once we have these three things in place, the structure is aligned, that would form part of the content. Along with that, we also ensure that if we ensure to catch phrases or quotes which leave a deep impact. So if the speaker is using any interesting quotes, famous quotes, or any usage of words which catch your attention, I make sure to jot it down. So this section of the structure and the usage of word would complete the content section. Now, moving on to the next one, which is the delivery. Now, delivery is as important as the content, because that is where we have, first of all, the eye contact of the speaker. Second of all, the body language, which is very, very significant in Toastmasters. Third, the voice modulation or the voice variations. And finally, the usage of this page. I mean, if it's online, obviously the usage of the screen, and if you're on the physically in the spot, then the usage of the stage or the stage presence. So once we have these four categories listed down, your delivery is also taken care of. So these are the two areas that I focus on. So this helps me ensure that I don't miss out on any of the basic fundamentals that complete a good or great speech.
Absolutely right. It's never complete without these two aspects. The content has to complement the delivery, and the delivery has to complement the content as well. So yes, definitely. But in your opinion, because there are certain points that sometimes, let us say, are repeated in each evaluation, but for you, Toastmaster Najla, Hameed, how do you stand out in your evaluations?
Okay, so I kind of personally believe that every speaker has their own style. Every speaker has their own pattern, and everyone is charismatic in their own ways. Like, there is no one person better than another person, one person less than another person. Everyone has their own style. Now, if you ask about how I stand out, I basically classify evaluators into two sections. All right. So the first one is the energetic, enthusiastic, inspiring evaluators. They come in and they're like, oh my God, my speaker did an amazing job. They were out of this world. They did this. Their eye contacts was amazing. So. But there were just few areas that you can improve on, and then you have an amazing speech. And then you have the other category, which is the calm and soothing evaluators. They are very calm and composed. They're so poised, so polite. They're like music to your ears. They come in with a positive note. They're both positive, obviously, because we are all positive people at Toastmasters, but they are very, very elegant. They speak with so much poise that you feel yes, and you're very relaxed and at ease with them. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, I happen to be on the first category. I am the energetic one. I am the one who gets excited the minute I have to evaluate somebody, and I'm always 100% on inspiring and motivating the speaker, and then focus a little bit on the areas that they could improve on. So this is where I feel I stand out, because every time I do an evaluation, before that I try to open up and connect, be empathetic to the speaker. So by being empathetic, I'm able to understand what the speaker is actually trying to express or display through his or her speech. So that connection helps me excited and becomes, I don't know, it automatically leads me to be energetic. So I fall into that category. Now, if I may add on an instance, there was recently this instance where I gave out an evaluation, and it was a icebreaker speech. I gave out an evaluation, and she comes back and she's like, okay, I'm so excited at this very point in time. I want to redo my speech with all the points that you've just mentioned. I want to incorporate it and redo it. And you are so inspiring and so energetic that I just want to do this. And I was like, wow, I mean, that really, really made me think, okay, maybe this is definitely what I am. Although I would try to be the poised one sometime in the near future, but this is just me. I fall under that category. And I believe that is what exactly makes me stand out as, I wouldn't say different, but that is my style.
You're absolutely right. Not everybody evaluates the same way. And again, having an evaluation on a, let us say, a higher note, an enthusiastic note, also gives a really good feeling to the speaker. They make them feel a lot, let us say, the evaluation is friendlier and the points perceived are more, let us say, welcomed, so to speak, because the person is actually very positive and hopeful that the speaker itself is going to perform better on the next speeches. So let us know, Toastmaster Najla Hameed, what is your preferred method of practice to deliver an outstanding evaluation? So how do you practice evaluation?
So there is this, I would say, misconception, because even initially when I was competing in the contest, I didn't really have much of an idea of how can I be prepared. So there is this misconception that you cannot really do much, or there isn't much preparation that you can do for evaluation, but that is not really true, because I personally think the best way to get yourself prepared, obviously, what I do is I watch YouTube videos about DTAC champions' speeches. I watch how the evaluations are being done. So the more I watch, the more I observe. I try to do the speeches. I try to do the evaluations on those specific speeches, and then see and implement where I can get better. So this way of observing the speeches and then implementing them in my practice sessions, this keeps on going on till I reach a confidence level where I feel, okay, now I can go in and evaluate any speaker from wherever they are. So until I build this confidence, this is how I prepare myself for evaluations. And so far, it has been working fine.
Yes, you're absolutely right. I think the most important aspect in evaluations is observation, whether it is the speaker itself or observing others evaluate and benefiting from their points or their intake on the speech. So normally in the evaluation, the sandwich method is followed, which is basically highlighting the strengths and then the improvements and then the summary overall. So do you follow the same structure or do you have another format?
I would absolutely follow the sandwich method for two reasons, because I feel that is one of the best methods. Mainly because you start off with the strength. Again, that is, I mean, it's a fact that humans like to be appreciated and acknowledged. And the minute you appreciate, that is when they are willing to listen further. So starting off with a positive note or starting off with appreciation is key, no matter what. Like, even if there isn't anything much that is actually actually a strength, there would be something that you could just emphasize and motivate the speaker. So a sandwich method where you start with the strengths, move on with the area of improvements, and then summarize is obviously the perfect method, and that is absolutely what I follow as well. Now, the second reason why I would follow with the sandwich method is because I feel that is also a safe method because it helps us stick to our timing criteria. Now, as you know, we just have 2 to 3 minutes for an evaluation, and when you get overexcited, it is very difficult to make sure that you stay within your time limit. So the sandwich method, it starts off easily where you have the introduction, followed by the strengths. So I try to make sure I have 2 to 3 strengths that I highlight on, which takes me already to the green light. And once I'm at the green light, I just have time for 2 areas of improvements, and I'm already at the yellow light. And then I just have to summarize and wrap up the evaluation with a quote or use some specific usage of words, and boom, I'm on the red light, and that's how I at least avoid chances of being overtimed or getting disqualified. So I feel, yes, sandwich method is definitely one of the best ways that you should go ahead and do the evaluation.
Actually, Toastmaster Najla, you have brought up a very important point, which is timing ourselves during evaluations. So because we only have 2 to 3 minutes, and usually when we write down notes about the speaker, we write down everything that we have noted about the speech. But the most important thing is that we have a specific time that we need to stick to. So yes, I do absolutely agree with you that we need to like summarize the points. For example, 2 points from the strengths and 2 points from the weaknesses. If we could fit 3, that's perfect. And then summarize quickly before we get disqualified basically, or we go overtime, because that's not okay in contests especially. So Toastmaster Najla, actually some people find it difficult to quickly write down everything or remember a lot of aspects, important aspects in each speech, because some people cannot, let us say, multitask or do it quickly. They want to listen first, but when they listen and they want to write down, they forget, let us say, for example. So any tips on what to note down during the limited time that we are given, whether it is during the speech or within the 5 minutes allotted to us after the speech is over?
Sure. So what I would suggest is that, or this is what I practice as well. So when you have your white paper, before the speaker starts speaking, there's just 2 areas that you need to basically focus on. As I previously mentioned, it is the content and the delivery. So you just jot down 2 areas, 2 sections where you have the speech structure, just bullet points like the speech structure, the usage of quotes or words, and then on the other side you have the delivery section, which includes the eye contact, the body language, the vocal variety, and the usage of space. So once you have these listed down, when your speaker starts his speech, you already have listed down these bullets. So you just go around with a tick mark. So if you feel the speaker has a very good eye contact, he's been constantly moving around, making sure he has a good eye contact, you put a tick mark against the eye contact, and that covers that bit. If you feel, okay, the voice modulation is something that could be a little improved, you just put an arrow which indicates, okay, that goes into the area of improvement. So this bifurcates on the things that the strengths and the area of improvement. So by the time the speaker has already done his speech, we already have the information on what are the strengths and what are the areas of improvement. So ta-da, you're halfway through already. So the remaining time is something that you could use to put the evaluation in a structured method, and any other quotes or any other usage of word which catches your attention, also jot that down so you can choose and arrange your evaluation in such a way that it creates a deeper impact, and hence it saves you the time as well. So this is something I use, and this is something I feel people could also benefit from, having these bullet points listed down and just a tick mark or an arrow which indicates the strengths and the area of improvement.
This is a great technique. Actually, it saves a lot of time, as you said, and we just need to focus on the other outstanding things in the speech, such as story or quotes or let's say a stage act or any of that sort. So actually, we have reached the end of our questions, and now we will have the question and answer session. We do have quite number of questions waiting for us. So we have the first two questions. I would say, is it two questions? Yes, I think two questions from our fellow member, Toastmaster Sarah Ibrahim. The first question says, how do you break down evaluation performance, and what are the pointers one should remember? So we did say that we're going to simply note down the let's say vocal variety, eye contact, etc. But among these areas or within the delivery, such as the stage act or quotes, so what are the points that we need to take or focus on, again, that we need to remember, especially to make our evaluation stand out?
So if I may, the how I would like to respond to this is like, once you have jotted down the strengths and the area of improvement, now the strengths are something that people would easily agree or accept. So it's only the area of improvement where you need to ensure that you're convincing the speaker that this is exactly where you need to improve. So when you speak about the area of improvement, for example, now if I say, okay, the eye contact requires, it comes under the area of improvement. So what I do there is that in my evaluation, when I say, okay, the area, I don't just say, okay, the eye contact was something which they could have been improved. I try to pick out examples and be specific. For example, if I feel the speaker was just looking down or just looking up to just remember what the next line or which is the next section of his speech, I will take out those specific instances. For example, my speaker could have ensured proper eye contact consistently throughout his speech. And then given examples of during that portion where he mentioned about him getting an award, he did not look into the camera. He did not show the excitement. So there was a lack in the eye contact with the audience. So being specific in this regard helps the speaker to buy in your point and understand or accept that specific area of improvement. So this way, your evaluation will stand out because it adds more value and it is more specific to the speaker as well.
Right, absolutely right. Yes, I do agree with you that the strength needs to be more, I mean, the weaknesses need to be more specific, and we need to focus on that specific areas of the speech. And the second question from Toastmaster Sarah says, how do you prepare yourself for the evaluation performance during the 5 minutes of the contest? That is the 5 minutes of silence given during the contest.
So again, as I mentioned, before I start the evaluation, I have these points jotted down: the content and the delivery, the body structure, the speech structure, the usage of words. In the content, I have the eye contact, the body movements, the voice modulation or the vocal variety, and the stage presence. So once I have these listed down, the strengths are already easy. It's the area of improvement where I try to spend more time, so that I put it in such a way that, as I mentioned, the area of improvement, it is not just directly saying, okay, this is the area of improvement, but also ensuring that it inspires them and does not demotivate them for the next speech. So that is something that you have to be very careful about, because at Toastmasters, we are here only to make a person better. There is no way we could go rude or give a feedback which could demotivate them in any way. So we have to make sure that 5 minutes that I have, I ensure that I work on the area of improvement. And the sandwich method always helps me out in this way. So I have a structure, I follow the structure, I jot down, I listen. So each minute, every time you focused on listening and you absorb, it's easy. You just keep your eyes open, your ears open, and open your heart to connect empathetically, so that you can understand what the speaker is actually trying to express through a speech, and boom, your evaluation is done.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Najla, for that beautiful insight. We have another question actually from Toastmaster Sarah Tahir. She is asking, how did you overcome the fear of stage during the contest?
So obviously, any every person in this world at any point in time cannot be perfect. And no matter how much of skills you've gained, no matter how much of knowledge you have, you can always be better. And I'm a person who completely believes this. So no one is born perfect, and no one can come in and stop themselves from getting any better. So stage fright is something I have every time. It's not just something that I have previously. So yes, I do have stage fright, but I do overcome the stage fright because I have a beautiful family and a beautiful group of fellow Toastmasters who make sure that I stand there and do my best. So when I have support from such beautiful souls, there is no way why I should be having this fear for more than few seconds. And I'm there, I have the fright, I do agree, but within seconds it's off because I see the known faces, I see the appreciation, I see how we in the Toastmasters Club uplift each other, and then there is no way you can be afraid anymore. You're just there to slay.
Ah, yes, definitely. The support makes a whole lot of difference, especially if you have familiar faces in the crowd. So, yes, thank you so much for the love and support to the Young Adult Toastmasters. And we also love and support you, Najla, all the way.
Thank you.
We have another question from Habib. He says, do you think a great evaluator has to necessarily be a great speaker contest-wise?
So, personally speaking, I feel evaluation is an art. So, it's not something everybody can do it. So, I could work the other way around. A great speaker can be a great evaluator, but a great evaluator need not necessarily be a great speaker. So, you see what I'm saying. So, when you're good at analyzing, you become a great evaluator. But when you're good at expressing or communicating or getting a message across, that is when you become a great speaker. Now, at Toastmasters, we don't sideline or we don't go specific to one. At Toastmasters, we uplift or we develop both the skills. We become good speakers and good evaluators. So unknowingly or knowingly, you are trained for becoming a great speaker and a great evaluator. So needless to say, I wouldn't say one is necessary for the other one or vice versa. You're just there to be good or the best at both, being a great speaker and a great evaluator. That is where you should be focused on.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Najla. I do agree with you as well. That's a very valid point. Actually, this was the last question of the podcast, and I don't think we have any further questions. We actually have reached to the end of our podcast of this second episode of the contest series of the Young Adult Toastmasters Club, where we have learned that the evaluations are divided into two parts, the contents and the delivery. And in the content, we have to focus on the speech structure, the message, the storyline, and where's the delivery, we have to focus on the gestures, the voice modulation, and the speaking area. And of course, observation is very, very important during evaluations, whether observing the speaker itself or observing others in their points. And of course, timing yourself, because we are limited to 2 to 3 minutes. So make sure that you time yourself where you have 2 points of strength during the green light, 2 points of improvement during the yellow light, and finally summarize, which is because it's very important, during red light, and you are good to go. And of course, having a familiar face in the crowd eases the nervousness that you have during this on stage during the contest. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Najla Hameed, for your time and valuable information, and I hope that everybody here enjoyed and take a piece of advice home. And of course, to all who have stayed and joined us here tonight, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for the love that you have shown and the comments and the questions that you had. Please tune in to our next podcast series, which is the third episode, going to be on next Tuesday, which is 26th of April, and we're going to have the phenomenal Toastmaster Sara Tahar as our table topic guest speaker. She's here in the audience as well. The same time at 9 p.m. GMT +3, and hope to see you soon. Bye.